You have big dreams. You want to build something meaningful. Write a book. Start a business. Get in shape. Change your life. And yet, you can't even get off the couch. You keep telling yourself, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. You think maybe you're just lazy. Maybe you're not disciplined enough. Maybe something's wrong with you. But here's the truth most people never hear. You're not lazy. You're overwhelmed. See, when you're ambitious, you dream in big pictures. You don't just want to run. You want to run a marathon. You don't just want to write. You want to publish a bestseller. You don't just want to work out. You want the perfect body. And that vision, as inspiring as it is, can become the very thing that paralyzes you. Because your brain doesn't see that dream and go, let's start small. It goes, that's a lot of effort. Let's avoid it. And so you distract yourself. You scroll. You binge. You escape. Not because you don't care, but because the weight of the goal feels impossible to carry. But what if I told you this wasn't a personal flaw? What if this is exactly how the human brain is wired? Your brain is designed to avoid pain. It's built for comfort. It's not judging your potential. It's just following its programming. So when a task feels too big, too uncertain, or too effortful, your mind hits the brakes. And you mistake that resistance for laziness. But here's the reframe that changes everything. Laziness isn't a character trait. It's a survival response. It's your brain saying, this feels unsafe. Let's stay where it's comfortable. But you're not here to live a safe life. You're here to grow, to create, to do the thing. And that starts with learning how to outsmart the part of your brain that's trying to protect you from discomfort. In this video, we're going to break that pattern. We're going to unpack the psychology behind ambitious but stuck, and give you simple, science-backed tools to go from overthinking to action, starting today. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your brain resists effort, even when you want the goal. How to reprogram your habits without relying on motivation. And why starting small is the most powerful thing you can do. This isn't just a pep talk. It's a roadmap. Because the people you admire, the ones doing the big things, they don't have more energy, discipline, or willpower. They just learned how to start small and stay consistent. You can too. Let's begin. You keep waiting for motivation. You think, once I feel ready, I'll start. When I'm inspired, I'll go all in. But here's the truth. Motivation is not a starting point. It's a byproduct. The people you see taking action, they're not motivated first. They move first. And then the motivation follows. Because action creates momentum. And momentum changes everything. The problem is, you've been conditioned to think that action has to be huge. If you're going to work out, it has to be a full hour. If you're going to write, it has to be 10 perfect pages. If you're going to change your life, it has to be now. So when that big version of success feels out of reach, you shut down. Not because you're weak, because you're trying to climb the mountain in one leap. Here's what you need to understand. Big goals are achieved through tiny steps. And your first job, if you want to beat procrastination, is to make everything smaller. So small, in fact, that your brain can't say no. Want to write a book? Don't start with a chapter. Start with one sentence. Want to meditate every day? Don't commit to 30 minutes. Just sit down and breathe for 60 seconds. Want to clean your room? Don't clean the whole thing. Just pick one item off the floor. These are micro wins. They may look insignificant, but they do two things that change your life. 1. They override resistance too. They build identity. Because every small action you complete says something powerful to your brain. I'm the kind of person who takes action. And if you can shift your identity, even by 1%, that shift compounds. You don't need a 10-year plan. You need a 10-second decision. Repeat it daily. Let's use an example. Imagine you want to learn guitar. The old you might say, I don't have an hour right now, I'll start tomorrow. But the new you says, I'm just going to pick it up and play one chord. That's it. And what happens? You build momentum. And momentum turns into rhythm. And rhythm turns into habit. That's how change really works. It's not dramatic. It's not cinematic. It's small, repetitive, consistent, but it's real. So the next time your brain says, that's too hard, you shrink the task, make it so easy it's almost laughable. And then you do it anyway. Coming up, how to build automatic routines that do the hard work for you, even when you don't feel like it. Let's be honest. Willpower is unreliable. You wake up one day feeling focused, energized, and ready to go. But the next, you can't even get out of bed. And that's normal. Because willpower is a finite resource. It runs out. It gets tired. It burns out fast. That's why people who rely on motivation and willpower burn bright and fade quickly. But the people who win in the long run, they don't depend on how they feel. They build systems that carry them regardless of how they feel. And those systems are called routines. Think of routines like autopilot for your goals. They remove the thinking, the debating, the internal fight. You don't decide whether to act, you just act. Here's the good news. You don't need a military schedule. You don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. or overhaul your whole day. You just need tiny cues, actions you repeat consistently that signal your brain. It's time to do this now. Let's say you want to exercise more. Don't start with the gym. Start by placing your shoes next to your bed. That's your first cue. When you wake up and see those shoes, your brain goes, oh, right. That's what we do now. Over time, this becomes automatic. It's not a choice. It's just what happens. Another example. Want to be more focused in the morning? Create a routine where you drink a glass of water, stretch for 30 seconds, and write down your top 3 tasks for the day. That simple act trains your brain to switch gears from reactive mode to intentional mode. And you don't have to feel inspired to do it because your environment is doing the heavy lifting. Here's the formula. Trigger. Action. Reward. It's how all habits work. Trigger equals shoes by the bed. Action equals put them on and walk outside. Reward equals a sense of momentum, clarity, or even a small celebration like a favorite song. You don't need to feel ready if the system runs for you. And when that system is made of small, repeatable actions, you stop stalling. You stop negotiating with yourself. You just start showing up. The beauty of routines is that they free your mental energy. Instead of spending your willpower deciding whether to act, you spend it actually acting. It's like installing guardrails on a winding road. You still drive, but now you're not crashing off the edge every time you lose focus. Your routines catch you. They guide you. They keep you moving, even on the bad days. Coming up next, the 2-minute rule. The most powerful psychological trick to make starting so easy your brain can't resist it. Here's something most people don't realize. The hardest part of doing anything is starting, not finishing, not staying consistent, just starting. Because the moment you begin, resistance starts to melt. But the moment before you begin, that's where your mind builds its fortress. It whispers, it's not the right time. You don't have the energy. Let's do it tomorrow. And so the idea dies before it ever had a chance. That's where the 2-minute rule comes in. The rule is simple. If a task feels overwhelming, make it so small that it can be done in 2 minutes or less. Want to read more? Read 1 page, just 1. Want to clean your house? Start with 1 drawer or 1 dish. Want to write a book? Just open the document and type the title. Why does this work? Because it bypasses the fear response. Your brain doesn't freak out about 2 minutes. It sees it as harmless. And once you start, something amazing happens. You often keep going. What begins as 2 minutes turns into 10, then maybe 20, and suddenly you're in motion. That's called the activation effect. It's like pushing a boulder. The first push is heavy, awkward, uncertain, but once it's rolling, momentum takes over. Here's the trick. Don't focus on the outcome. Focus on the initiation. Tell yourself, I'm just going to do this for 2 minutes. After that, I can stop. And if you want to stop, that's okay. Because even showing up for 2 minutes, it rewires your identity. It proves you're someone who takes action, even when it's small. Let's do some quick examples. Want to stretch more? Do 1 stretch for 2 minutes. Want to start journaling? Open the notebook. Write 2 lines. Want to start meditating? Sit down, breathe. Just for 120 seconds. And here's a bonus tip. Reward yourself for starting. After you complete your 2 minutes, do something small that makes you feel good. Play a song you love. Take a short walk. Sip coffee in peace. The reward tells your brain, hey, that felt good, let's do it again. That's how habits form. Not from giant bursts of effort, but from tiny victories, repeated daily. The 2-minute rule isn't about results. It's about becoming someone who starts, no matter what. And if you can start, you can build. Coming up next, the final mindset shift. Why consistency matters more than intensity, and how showing up in small ways creates massive long-term change. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need a full transformation. You just need to start. And then, you need to keep showing up. Not every day, not all day. Just regularly enough to keep the spark alive. Because the truth is, consistency beats intensity. Every time. Anyone can go hard for a week. Anyone can grind for a few days when motivation is high. But that's not what builds dreams. That's what burns people out. Real change? It's slow. It's subtle. It's boring sometimes. But it works. Because it doesn't depend on how you feel. It depends on what you do, especially on the days you don't feel like doing it. So here's what I want you to remember. You don't have to overhaul your life today. You don't have to fix yourself. You don't have to wait until you feel more ready, more focused, more energized. You just have to take 1 small step, and then take another tomorrow, even if it's small, even if it's messy. That's how momentum is built. That's how habits are formed. That's how identity changes. And here's the beautiful part. You are allowed to go slow. You are allowed to fail. You are allowed to try again. Because success isn't about never slipping. It's about getting back up every single time. It's about choosing progress over perfection, action over overthinking, consistency over intensity. And it starts now. So here's your challenge. Pick 1 goal. Shrink it to a 2-minute task. Set a cue or routine to trigger it. And do it, just once, today. Then reward yourself, smile, breathe. You just prove to yourself you can move. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're not behind. You just needed a better way to begin. And now you have it, so go. Light the match, fuel the fire, 1 spark at a time, and keep showing up. Your dream isn't waiting for you to be perfect. It's waiting for you to start. Subscribe to MindArchitect for more tools, strategies, and stories to help you take full control of your mind and your life. You're not just watching content anymore. You're becoming the architect. Let's go.